Adventures of Sonic Episode 8. Close Encounter of the Sonic Kind. Okay, this title tells me nothing. Every episode of someone encounters Sonic. It kinda makes me think of aliens. Grounder says Sonic will be immobile when he gets in a tractor beam of his trap, and then we see some weird aliens in a spaceship. That's gutsy of the show. Sonic fans hate aliens. A prince with a really weird, stupid voice is being nagged to stop his vacation, and then his UFO gets sucked in by a tractor beam, which is a nice way to justify a UFO crash. When it crashes onto Scratch, the prince says it was a good ride and he likes this planet already. I'm gonna hate this guy. There's no way he'd be chipper after all that. Also, it's creative that the UFO is shaped like a normal plane. Scratch and Grounder are insultingly still alive and not damaged at all. They tell him to get off the road since they want to inconvenience Sonic, and the alien prince gets kidnapped. I at least like the prince's sidekick, for lack of a better word, because he's the relatable, responsible one, actually complaining about the UFO crash. Sonic saves him easily and throws the robots in the net off a cliff. Why can't this destroy them? The show established the existence of the hardest substance on Mobius. It's so lazy that they don't explain that Scratch and the gang are just made of that. The glasses alien complains that they're in danger, and the prince shakes Tails' hand and wants to have a tour of the planet. Then it turns out that the prince's baby brother will blow up the planet if he's not home in time. That's stupid. Finally, the prince panics because he can't become king if he's not home for his own coronation. But the planet being blown up doesn't bother him? Sonic and Tails really are good people to be accepting of the aliens right away. They have to gather materials, so Sonic runs around really fast to get them. The glasses guy presses a button on his wristwatch to reconstitute the spaceship telekinetically. That was really easy. It would have been fine to just have Tails do this. Not all of the spaceship materials are collected yet because it's not the end of the episode yet. Scratch and Grounder are insultingly still functioning just fine, so they waste the scene. The prince takes pictures around the jungle, absent-mindedly walking past a snake as he admires a curly tree. You can tell the show had a much smaller budget than Sad AM. A jungle looked much better there, instead of just a mass of silly bright colors like it's a Bubsy game. Then the prince is stupid again by almost walking off a waterfall of what I hope is just yellow water. Is he gonna be the whole episode? I do find him charming though, because he's a prince who's an excited tourist, open-minded of an unfamiliar planet. I just wish his voice didn't suck. They see some giant domino slabs of rock, and they find a spaceship part above them in the canyon. The canyon never got a name as far as I know, but we keep seeing it. But if it did have one, it'd probably be something lazy like Mobius Canyon. Sonic impressively uses momentum to spin dash down the slope to fling himself ahead and up, and saves the prince from walking off the edge again. The prince is crushed by falling rocks, but no, he's not crushed. Somehow he's fine. How is he speaking English, by the way? Archie is so much better than this because Buller is scared to explain why the aliens can all understand each other. There's a translator that bonds with their nervous system. They panic because they didn't find the nose cone they wanted. Sonic says it's the nose of Grounder, figuring that out because he's always damaged. Slapstick is supposed to get characters hurt, that's what makes it funny. But a lot of the time, Scratch and Grounder don't seem to get damaged. And when they are, it's very temporary. So when I think about the slapstick with Scratch and so on, it doesn't work as well as it could because just like when Cubot got hit with a chair and spun around being perfectly fine saying ta-da in Sonic Colors, the slapstick doesn't injure them at all. It doesn't really inconvenience them unless they're falling apart. It's just a waste of time. The spaceship part they need is stuck in the tractor beam near Scratch, and Sonic says he doesn't need Grounder's nose cone. He taunts Grounder that his nose will be just fine to get the spaceship away. It actually felt sorry for Grounder when he was worried about his nose going to another planet because he'll never see it again.
My nose? Going to another planet? I'll never see it again!
That was actually a great line. Surprisingly, Scratch is smart enough to realize it's a trap, but it doesn't matter, as Sonic runs around and wins with Scratch getting crushed by a part of the canyon landing on him. Sonic runs on top of a giant rock, bouncing on top of a steep, tall peak, which somehow hasn't fallen off long ago. Somehow, Scratch and Grounder start spinning around each other and smash into some rocks. Grounder begs for his nose back, Sonic gives it to him, and he's not able to lift it because it's actually in the tractor beam that keeps people immobile. So it's a proper Chekhov's gun. Grounder actually looks hurt when Scratch insults him. Not that it actually leads to anything, like him crying and Scratch hugging him. Instead, Scratch keeps smacking something that Grounder's nose is in. Sonic says with a woman disguise that he was going to do something clever and funny, but Scratch is already taking care of it. That was his best disguise yet, because he's a woman, but it's still showing him as just as blue as ever. Sadly, Tails got kidnapped again by Robotnik, and off-screen at that. The writing is terrible because Robotnik arbitrarily doesn't believe the aliens, even though they clearly look like aliens. Sonic says he'll agree to being locked up if it saves Mobius by getting the aliens back home. The Prince shows morality as he doesn't want to abandon Sonic and Tails. This would be a lot more satisfying if his voice didn't sound so stupid. He's not that different from Grounder in that voice, and they're trying to have me take him seriously? The Prince is ignored by Robotnik, and he pretends to accidentally knock over the dominoes. I figured they get knocked over a lot earlier, but instead they uses the Chekhov's gun, destroying Robotnik's machine and letting the Prince be useful finally by saving Sonic and Tails. The aliens leave, and the Prince wants to visit Mobius again someday, but I'm sure he never will because negative continuity. Sonic finally thinks to ask why his baby brother wants to blow up Mobius. I couldn't really understand the Prince's explanation because his voice was that stupid. All I know is that the brother really is a 2-year-old. Why would a toddler be in charge of a button that could destroy a planet that no one should have had any way of knowing the Prince would crash on? There would have to be a bomb already on the planet. I guess that would be in the spaceship? The whole source of tension in the episode was forced. This is no better than the apocalypse scenario Pender's 25 years later. This episode was about an alien prince with an extremely stupid voice that's hard to understand, not reacting properly to crashing on a planet, and instead being an excited tourist who gets himself in danger all the time. It's kind of hard to see it as a good episode from that alone. I really hate his voice. Also, maybe I should count the amount of times Tails gets kidnapped instead of doing anything useful for the show, because this time was off screen. That's especially insulting, and it's gonna happen again. I at least love the uses of Chekhov's gun in this episode, with Grounder's broken nose and the tractor beam actually succeeding in immobilizing something, and the dominoes falling because the Prince made them. That was good. But the Prince's voice was so annoying. I'm not sure how to classify this episode as a result. This episode might have been better if it was in comic form, because we wouldn't have to deal with that stupid voice. There's a reason some people hate Big the Cat. Well, at least the show was gutsy enough to have aliens something Sonic related, and it was treated as no big deal by Sonic and Tails. But Robotnik not believing the aliens were aliens was extremely stupid. One of them was even floating. How could that be a costume? He should have panicked about the world being threatened with him on it.